All right, all right. I really appreciate you taking time to be here with me today. It's not the format we necessarily would have wanted. I would have loved to have you in person, but I think it's great to have you here with us. And just want to get to know a little bit about what you do and really what the organization, the Boys and Girls Home, is all about, and how our students can get engaged, especially if they want to work with kids, what those opportunities look like. So if you can share just a little bit about your current title, a description of that, and maybe your journey, that would be great, Art.
Hi, Alex. Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity today to talk, discuss this. I love working with kids, and my title right now at Boys and Girls Home, I'm the president and CEO. You probably wonder how a guy from the car industry ends up being a president and CEO of a nonprofit. It's a long journey, but that's part of my story today. Is that you really never know where you're going to go. I knew that at an early age. I had a tremendous respect for, and I got a tremendous amount of energy from working with kids. I came right out of college, and I was a high school teacher, hoping to teach and coach. I had some kids that were just really tough to get to, and after the second year, I left teaching because I wasn't the educator and it couldn't pay the bills at that time. So I went to work, took a path down and went with Ford Motor Company. Spent some time with Ford Motor Company, got a heck of an education. And then I left and went with Digital Equipment Corporation, got another great education there. And then I ended up coming to Sioux City and starting a business. That was back in 1986, and that was Team Ford with my partner, Barry Goodwin. The point I'm trying to make is this is a guy with an education um, major, history major, education major, and I just told you where my path led me.
Yeah.
Um, and along the way, there's been a lot of great stops, and you learn a little more, but it never takes away from the passion you have to go off and serve what drives you. Um, I think that the biggest thing is when you come out and you want to look and you want to work with kids, you want their energy. That's what I love the most, and I love the way they look at things, the ideology of we're going to make this a better place. And Now that's the start. The struggle is how do you do that? How do you find your spot? Where do you get your most fulfillment
Hmm.
um, in serving younger people and serving your community? So I think you got to look inside yourself and see what's going to draw me. Where do I think I'm best equipped? What am I going to get out of this? And it doesn't have to be financial. It's usually I got the good feeling that I made a contribution. I did something to help somebody else out, and all starts from there.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of these kids are looking to do as well, is make the most impact that they can. You know what I mean? Help people. I think, Art, what I'd like to maybe have you do too is, can you just describe what the Boys and Girls Home is for those that maybe are listening or watching and are unfamiliar? Can you explain just a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. Boys and Girls Home, we really have four subsidiaries underneath our umbrella. Probably the one we're noted for the most is the residential treatment. This is a 24/7 operation. It's a PMIC. That's the words are, that's a psychiatric medical institute for children. There are seven or eight of them total in the state of Iowa. And we take the most complex children, children that have been traumatized, children that have been abused, and we get them back on their feet. We take children from the age of 6 to 18. And we brought in that young kids group again because there was so many of them in shelter not getting treatment. We deal about 30 children at a time. Um, and it's a residential 24/7 operation. We also educate our children who are in residence with us, and we also feed and take care of all their medical needs. That's one component. The other component is the Opportunity School. And this is a school that I'm very proud of. This is the Alternative Learning School. We educate our own children. This is a one-on-one, different kind of educational setting. But we also take in students from the Sioux City community schools, as well as a 45-mile radius around Sioux City of other kids that need that alternative learning. They come here. We watch their math grades, their reading grades, their study skills improve, and then they go back to their high school to do their graduation. I've seen so many successes there. It's a wonderful program. And, you know, in education, not one size fits all. And I recognize that from my teaching days. So we've got a great person there, Ben Morton. Ben's our education supervisor, young man, fired up on what he's doing, and he's definitely making a contribution. Family services. Now, this is our outpatient group, and this is where you're probably going to see the most action going forward as we reach out to the community. We deal with a lot of things in family services. We have the Batterers program. We do counseling there, but the majority are our children and our families that come in for those problems that come up in every day in household and families. And some families are better equipped to handle than the mothers. Family Services is our United Way partner agency. United Way funds us so that we can provide a sliding scale to help create the access to care that's necessary. So we love Family Services. It's going to be the cornerstone of our new campus over at Indian Hills. And last but not least, let me talk about the Siouxland Family Center. This is located over in Dakota City. What we do here is a resource center for the community, for jobs, employment, food pantry. We gave out so much food last year. We keep exceeding every year by year by year. We do more. So, and that's also a United Way funded partner operation. So that's pretty much what we do at Boys and Girls Home. We like to interact, but what makes us different, Alex, is the residential piece. And residential treatment right now and under the managed care. You know, you want to get into something that's going to give you a challenge. And the old saying, nothing good ever comes easy. I can tell you what we're working with on the state front with managed care and care for services, particularly those with mental health. It's a real good time to be in that fight right now because I think we're finally having ears listen to us and there's tremendous underfunding that's going forward. So those are the kind of things you feel good about if you're making a dent. We're not going to solve everybody's problem, but what can we do today to make this day? And our mission is to improve the lives of children and families. And that's what we try to do.
Yeah, it's just a multifaceted organization where you're offering a lot of services and a lot of chances to interact, I think, with kids and something where you can kind of evolve your career. You know what I mean? You might start in one area and then be drawn to another, that's for sure. Can you talk a little bit about, as the CEO of a nonprofit, maybe what your day to day looks like? Maybe these students want to get into business, but they think they want to be in the nonprofit realm. I mean, can you talk about what being a CEO of a nonprofit looks like in the day to day? And I'm sure it changes often, but what's that day to day look like?
I have a staff of three wonderful people. There's 8,700 people in the agency, part-time, full-time. But my staff consists of three people, and they're absolutely wonderful. So they make my job a lot easier. As Brenda Geisinger, she's our COO. Tina Rankin is our Chief Financial Officer, and Terry Dooley is our Vice President of Development. My job, what I do, I like to say every day is the same, but it's not. We deal with very difficult children. We deal with regulations, procedures, things that we can't control. The school sometimes brings some issues on a daily basis. Sometimes it could be family services. No day is ever the same. And I think this is important that you understand the roles and responsibilities of a team. And I view my role like quarterback. Sometimes when presidents and CEOs want to really get down and help, they can really mess things up. They need to stay at that 30,000 foot look and see what's going on and help direct their people and block for their people so that the experts can get the job done. So I kind of view my role as here's the what and when, you guys are the how, and leave it with them and empower them, because if you don't empower them, you can't hold them accountable. So I'm blessed with the people that I work with. They get it. And the overall rule is try to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Try to do the right thing.
Yeah, so it kind of, I like that. Just the CEO, sometimes people think that you're in the weeds a lot, but I think it's sound advice to say, look, no, you got to take that 30,000 foot view and really kind of lead the ship, and let your experts be able to do what they do best and make sure you're hiring good people. Art, talk to me a little bit about some of the highlights you think that maybe your staff has or you have, but also some of the challenges, because I imagine working with this population and in the nonprofit world in general, it's going to have some challenges. So really, if you can outline some of that for students that might want to go into that area, just talk to them about those things.
Well, it's a tremendous challenging area, and I got to tell you, you're going to get repaid a lot in smiles and hugs and just thank yous like that. It's you're participating. We're participating, working in a system that is a patchwork of services. We have the most complex kids, but we can't seem to find a way to sustainably fund this system. The needs aren't going away; they're getting greater and greater. We're finally starting to recognize the challenge that mental health is no different than going to the doctor for your cold or your flu or whatever.
Yeah.
But mental health is the same. The doctors and the medical institutions are recognizing that now. You'll notice that when you check into your doctor's office, you're going to get a questionnaire on how you feel and how you've been, et cetera. Mental health is the brain. And I think it's an exciting time to come into this as we start to look at the impact this has not only on the individual, but how it ripples through the entire community. How we take the challenge on of getting rid of the stigma that has been so preventative in people going forward and getting help. I don't want people to know, I'm a little ashamed. This is nothing but good help, good common sense. Fix your computer, you have support. How do we deal with the isolationism? Well, we got this pandemic going on right now.
Yeah.
But even without that, there were a lot of lonely people out there. So there's a lot, this could be a good recheck, a good reset for us to take a look at. Hey, let's move forward now in a different way. Let's really try to tap the power of our individuals. Just like I said earlier, the experts, they know what they're doing. Everybody has some power in them, and I don't think that we tap that enough or challenge people enough to step out of their goals. Uh, for my staff, when I set their goals, okay, here's we go. Then I give another 10% area, and then I call that zone of unreality. I don't expect them; they shouldn't get there. But if we don't shoot for it, if we don't try to press ourselves, with the end all goal being not what we did, but how do we get the rest of the team down the field? I think too often we get ourselves down the field, but we forget about everybody else. And it's only going to work if we get everybody down the field. So it's kind of like getting in I think in my organization, the most important thing is the DNA. You got to have the DNA because you're not going to do it on cash and money. You'll do it on hugs and smiles.
Yeah. Wow, that's poignant. I like that. Art, talk to me a little bit about if students want to learn more about your organization or even the opportunities they want to teach there, they want to work on the mental health side of it, the counseling side of it, or just any aspect of it, or even the COO or CEO, those types of positions. How could they get involved as a college student in learning more about your organization? What could they be doing right now?
Well, I'd like to reach out, and I think we had a segment where some students came over from Morningside and spent some time here. I'm sorry I missed that, but I'd like to do more of that. I'd like to reach out more. I'd like to work more with internships. I'd like to work more with shadow an employee for a day. And I think that's the best way to really understand because when they come in the Boys and Girls Home, they're in a clinical setting. And sometimes they're taken aback by the absolute the Spartan environment that these kids are in. But there's reasons why you can't have hanging ropes in a room for operators' drawstrings. There's reason why the bed coils have to be constructed in a certain way. You're going to learn a lot, and it's going to challenge that. Whoa, this is not what I thought the world was. But if you're the kind of person that wants to get in there, get involved, want to make change, well, this is a wide open industry.
Yeah, and taking those necessary steps, like you said, whether it's just job shadowing or ultimately an internship, something like that, to learn more about it. Well, Art, I appreciate it. I'm going to open it up. One last question. Just any advice or information when students are ultimately looking to make that decision of what they might want to go into. Your career has evolved, my friend. And so being prepared or allowing students the freedom to do that, I think is important too. But what advice would you give to any student or alumni listening to this?
Well, I say keep your options open, get prepared, always be prepared. I think one thing of a liberal arts education was you learn a lot of skills in a lot of areas. You know how to talk in front of people. As a teacher, you could do lesson plans. All those skills carry forward. And be a good listener. I think that's probably one of the best things that I try to do is listen to really, you get the deal, then you get the real deal. Be a good listener. Try to get that faith and confidence in you that people can come and talk to you and that their best interest, as well as trying to get the whole team down the field. People want to be included. People want to be part of a team. I think it's an exciting time. I love the youth and the energy that they're bringing forward and the questioning of why we do what we do and the fact that they are impacted and they're going to be running this ship pretty doggone soon. So if you want a challenge, if you want to be open-minded, our field's a tough one. There are a lot of other easier fields, but if you really want to get on the cutting edge of where I think we're going to see a lot of change in society, we could use the youth in our organizations. We are pretty much youth-driven. That's our MHTs, our younger people. We have a tremendous amount of opportunity in our groups. So that I would say, come by, pay a visit. Take a tour of Boys and Girls Home. Come by during the school, call our education person up and say, I'm interested. It's that simple. Call me and say, Art, I'd like to come over. What are you guys doing? I just want to witness. I said, be glad to share with you.
That's great advice, man. I appreciate you taking the time very much, Art. I want you to take care of yourself, and we'll be in touch for sure.
Alex, back at you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I love working with you. And again, we're going to everybody down the field.